The fundamentals of game theory. Game theory is a way of thinking about social events involving multiple players. In some ways, game theory is the study of strategy, or more precisely, the optimal decision-making of independent and competing agents in a strategic setting. In the 1940s, mathematician John von Neumann and economist Oskar Morgenstern were fundamental pioneers of game theory. The game, which serves as a model of an interaction scenario among rational participants, is at the center of game theory. The key to understanding game theory is that one player's payoff is dependent on the other player's strategy. Psychology, evolutionary biology, military, politics, economics, and business are just a few of the fields where game theory is used. All participants' actions and decisions, according to game theory, have an impact on the outcome of each. Nash equilibrium is a state in which no player can increase their payoff by changing their choice unilaterally. Types of game theory. When just the payoffs are known, cooperative game theory examines how coalitions or cooperative groupings interact. It's a game in which players create coalitions rather than competing individually, and it raises problems about how groups develop and how payoffs are distributed among participants. The study of how rational economic agents engage with one another in order to achieve their own goals is known as non-cooperative game theory. Rock, paper, scissors is a simple example of a non-cooperative game in real life. The most well-known example of game theory is the prisoner's dilemma. Officials, on the other hand, take the inmates out of their solitary cells and question them individually in different chambers in order to extract a confession. If they both confess, they will both be sentenced to 5 years in prison. However, neither party is aware of the other's approach, and without a guarantee that one will not confess, both will most likely confess and serve a 5-year term. In the prisoner's dilemma, the Nash equilibrium predicts that both parties will choose the decision that is best for them individually, but worst for them collectively. The phrase tit for tat has been established to be the most effective technique for resolving a prisoner's dilemma. Anatol Rappaport coined the term tit for tat, a strategy in which each player in an iterated prisoner's dilemma does the same action as his opponent in the previous turn. While this isn't really a game theory approach, it does offer some fascinating insights on human behavior. In game theory, the centipede game is an extensive form game in which two players alternate taking the larger portion of a slowly rising money stockpile. When a player steals the stash, the centipede game ends, with that player receiving the larger share and the other player receiving the smaller portion. The total number of rounds in the game is predetermined and known to each player ahead of time. Game theory's limitations. The most serious flaw in game theory, like most other economic models, is that it is based on the premise that people are rational, self-interested, and utility-maximizing actors. Game theory cannot account for the reality that, depending on the social context and who the players are, we may fall into Nash equilibrium in certain scenarios and not in others. Do participants play the prisoner's dilemma once? The players were given a payout matrix to choose from, and the game terminated after the first round of selections. There are as many players in the real world of oligopoly as there are enterprises in the main industry. For example, the arrival of personal computers modified the norms in the computing business. Game theory is concerned with decision-making in an interacting world, in which each decision best maker's decision is influenced by the actions of others. As a result, in order to advance one's own self-interest in this interactive universe, everyone will need to forecast the decisions of others. With the publication of the magnum opus in game theory, Theory of Games and Economic Behavior, in 1944, von Neumann was an undeniable intellect. But he was a lousy poker player who quickly realized that probability theory couldn't help him win games. Game theory may give exact meaning to both what it means to be a better person and what it means for the world to be a better place, and hence may be used to prove or refute the same claim. Understanding the delicate balance of equilibrium is crucial to understanding game theory and why better people may make the world a worse place. True, if we merely grow more compassionate and nothing else changes, the world will not be any worse. So there you have it, something that both embodies and defies game theory.